them in these discussions and understanding that this is not just our problem. Thank you, Vinny.
Right. Wing Commander Sudhakaran, the course for the next few days for India, the playbook that India needs to adhere to, considering the fact that we have obviously paused because we achieved our objective. Has Pakistan reached its objective?
See, Pakistan didn't have an objective at the first. The objective of Pakistan was just to give India as bloody a nose as it can. So it primarily didn't have an objective. It started this complete escalation on April 22nd, but it planned from April 16th or before onwards. So let's even not walk that way, because it is a country which is with a begging bowl. It cannot even survive another week. It doesn't know where that money will come from unless and until China or somebody else doles that money out. The Islamic fraternity may give weapons, it may do cheerleading, it may do egging, but it will never give it money, the way it wants. Because all said and done, they don't belong to the same Arab blood, which the rest of them, because there are divisions there. But having said that, this pause that has been hit, I would also like to tell you that, of course, I was talking about the nuclear angle. The second thing is, how many of their F16s and JF10s and JF17s got neutralized on the ground in this attack itself? Which means the war waging capability of Pakistani Air Force was significantly compromised. The DG Air Ops today was very, very subtle, very measured. He, in fact, to my assessment, he understated himself the achievements. They're saying that we only hit 20% of the Pakistani war waging infrastructure. That cannot be the case, because he also made a statement which said that I can go and hit any target at my will, which technically means, as somebody who worked in Air Force Air Defense, I'm trained in Akash, I'm trained in Pichoras, which had neutralized these systems. I worked in all those radars. For me, it is about stating that we have achieved air dominance over Pakistan. Now that has a consequence, which means the Pakistani army cannot move out of its barracks. Its tanks cannot run on the streets, because now the Apaches, the Chinooks, can go inside without any fear. Because if that be the case, if that be the level of neutralization that they have done, which means Pakistan had no option but to plead for a pause, which I talked about the strategic duality in the momentum manipulation, because Modi's biggest weapon today is the Indus Water Treaty. Tap on, tap on. That could kill them more than any missiles can, because if a missile goes and kills, there'll be a lot of blood. But here they will go thirsty by the minute. Their fields will go dry, which means the crops, the harvests, it's around 35% of their GDP. Which technically means a GDP which is, reeling under heavy inflation. It is a recipe for disaster. And talk about water wars, talk about Balochistan, talk about Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. It's a disaster. Pakistan is, all said to be imploding. Why the ceasefire, I believe, didn't hold yesterday was, I also see that there are 4 divisions in Pakistan, the power corridors. The one is the Munir faction, which is holding the government with a gun, and which is actually which is the puppeteer in Pakistan. The second is the anti-Munir faction, which is still in power, which has no choice, which wants to scream, which wants to cry, but can't. The third is the anti-Munir faction, which is out, which is the Imran Khan faction. And the fourth are the rebels, which is the Balochistan, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and the mullahs and Maulvis, and now add to that the terrorists who got neutralized, who want this war to go on, but if they pause it, they wouldn't like it, because they are suicide bombers. They want the whole nation to go and sacrifice themselves. So, with this kind of a situation, what I was trying to tell was, we have an axe, we can axe a wood, and that will still give you chunks, it is still usable. But never ever let termites into wood, because that will transform itself into dust. And if you have chunks of wood, you will still be able to deal with it. But if it is dust all over, imagine the kind of jobs that we have. You can't have every promise a tribal leader.
Okay, before we end, I want to bring in General Asthana. General Asthana, both the countries